Alright, today I'm going to give you guys my opinion on the Hoyt Alpha X33 versus the Mathews Lift 33. Now, the Mathews Lift comes in at 4.25 pounds, 343 feet a second, and the Hoyt Alpha X comes in at 4.75 pounds, 334 feet a second. Let's talk about something that I think stands out right away. And that is, if you can't tell behind me already, that the Mathews Lift 33 has a longer riser than the Hoyt, even though they're the same axle to axle. This is a big deal in how the bow feels at full draw and shoots. Now with the longer riser, the Mathews actually feels and holds like a longer axle to axle bow, but because it has a longer riser, I noticed that it's a little bit more top heavy and I have to add more weight to my stabilizers to balance it out. A shorter riser actually balances out a little bit better. Next up, I want to talk to you guys about the cams. Now, Mathews runs one cam with switch weight mods. This is a little bit of an interesting technique done by them because you'll never get the full maximum efficiency out of that cam unless you max out your switch weight mods. Now, Hoyt, on the other hand, runs three different cams. I shoot a 29.5 inch draw length and I'm shooting the number 2 cam, which maxes out at 29 inches. Why? Because I can get the ½ inch out of the D-loop, but this also gives me maximum efficiency out of that cam. With me getting maximum efficiency out of that cam, I've noticed that it's translated to tighter sight tapes, which for those of you who followed me, you know I like to send long bombs, so having a little bit of a faster bow with the more efficient cam, I like that, especially because I like sending out some long bombs. I also like that the Hoyt has all the draw lengths and let-off adjustments right on the cam itself. This makes switching much simpler and easier than having to go and get multiple different mods. I can just loosen a screw, move it around, and boom, I've gone to 75% let-off instead of having to switch an entire mod set. Now, before we jump into the last thing, I want to let you know that in all honesty, the Hoyt sounds quieter to me. Now, this might come to a surprise because the Mathews on paper, I believe, is actually quieter. But when I had my buddy shoot this and my lift side by side, I honestly think that the Hoyt bow is shooting quieter in my opinion. Lastly, I want to talk to you about tuning. Hoyt and Mathews have a similar system. Mathews runs top hats and Hoyt runs shims. Both of them have an axle in between, and both require a bow press to use. But in all honesty, the shim system's pretty simple compared to Mathews top hat, where you actually have to pop it out and then pop a new one back in. This one you just pull the axle and slide your shims back in and you're good to go. Both bows, once they're tuned, even though they don't have the simplest tuning system on the market, they are rock solid once you get them down. And I honestly can't complain about either of their tuning systems. They're pretty solid once you get it there, but definitely not the simplest, if that makes sense. One other thing I'd like to throw in there is both stock grips, in my opinion, need changed out almost immediately. They're both a little bit too round, but if I had to pick a grip that feels really good right off the bat as a stock grip, I'm gonna have to give this one to Hoyt. Hoyt's grip just feels amazing when you grab it. Mathews' grip is a little bit more square, rectangular, and blocky, but again, in my opinion, both of them are too round and you need a flat back grip. Okay, with all that said, I'm sure you're interested in what bow I'll be shooting and going forward with. But first, I want to let you all know I'm not sponsored, and this is my personal opinion. I highly recommend going out to your local shop and shooting both bows to see which one fits you best and you shoot the best. When it comes down to it, it's a close call, but because the Hoyt balances with less weight and has more adjustment out of the cam without the need of new mods and all of that other stuff, and I get maximum efficiency out of the cam, I have to say that I'll be going with the Hoyt going forward. I hope you all enjoyed this video. It's the first of many more to come, and if you're interested to see more, please hit the subscribe button and head over to TikTok and Instagram and give me a follow. Thank you guys, and shoot straight.